Hey, how's it going, art nerds, and welcome back to the most underrated channel on YouTube. Yeah, I said it. But yeah, I know y'all read the title, and I know that you know that I know that you read the title. So yeah, this title is another cryptic one. It's not as obvious. But in this video, I want to talk about something that I believe can be useful to you guys if you hear it. But to be honest, this video is more for me to kind of voice my experience, sort of like a video log, In this video that'll probably be titled, Your Art's Not Good Enough, I want to talk about something that was messing me up, man. Something that I thought was good that I used to do, but it was completely the opposite, it was holding me back. And that thing is fear of change. Ooh, mysterious, right? What do I mean by fear of change? What experience did I have that gave me a strong realization in my art journey? One so strong that I felt the need to share it with you guys, my viewers, just in case it might help some of you. Well, I'll tell you. Okay, so your art isn't good enough. Don't get me wrong when I say that. I don't mean, dude, your art sucks, you need to quit it, it's not good enough. No. Essentially, I'm not telling you guys to look at your work and think your work isn't good enough in a negative sense. What I mean by your art isn't good enough is when you find yourself saying it from a place of satisfaction, if that makes sense. I mean, if you're looking at your artwork and you see areas that are lacking, that looks wonky, and you're not satisfied with it, and then you tell yourself, nah, people say it's good, my publisher says it's good, my followers tell me it's God tier, why change it? How does that saying go? Don't fix it if it ain't broke, right? Wrong. Fix it. I'm talking Bob the Builder that shit, bro. I'm talking Fix It Felix that motherfucker. Your art is not good enough in the sense that as long as you see flaws, you should never be satisfied with it. I mean, I'm not saying drive yourself crazy and go into a bad mental health place with this way of thinking, but I mean so in the sense that satisfaction is the enemy of growth type of deal, I've said that on this channel before, and yeah, I don't want to blabber on for too long. What does this art not being good enough and this fear of change have to do with me? How did I overcome it? And what is the lesson here from my personal experience that you beautiful art nerds can apply to your own journey? Well, it all starts at the very beginning. Well, not that beginning, not that early, but like more recent, yeah? And one thing you should know about me, Diddy Mark, is I hate being like everyone else. I've heard people say that personality trait makes me a douchebag, or an elitist, or some say it makes me cool or unique, and some say, what? I don't care about you, man, what the hell? Bad joke. But yeah, ever since I can remember, I always wanted to do things differently from others. All the kids in my class when I was a kid drew with a pencil, so I was like, oh hell no, I'm gonna draw with a pen, so I drew with a pen. Whenever a show was popular and every artist and their uncle's girlfriend was drawing fan art of it, I wasn't. I was drawing Blade again like it was 2001. In high school, when all the boys in my class were obsessing over girls, I was like, oh hell no, I'm gonna go obsess over some guys. Whoa. Hey, yo! Whoa. Let's pretend that didn't happen. But yeah, you get the point. I hate doing things like everyone else. And don't get me wrong, you don't have to be like me. I don't care if you are. Personally, I find that those that excel, those that are remembered as great, and the ones that do things differently and pave a new way and innovate, operate like this. And yeah, if you know me, I want to be that innovator. I want to become great. So I'm personally proud of that personality trait of mine, and I wasn't trying to change it. So yeah, as a comic artist, I've always known that my comic art does not look like traditional manga art, if that makes sense. It feels different, maybe because I don't crosshatch or I use a lot of tones, who knows. Point is, my manga inspired art style is so different from everybody else's. For example, look at one of my pages, okay? And then look at all these other manga pages from all these various artists. You can obviously tell that all these manga pages by all these other artists have a vibe about it that mine doesn't. Theirs looks like manga, it feels like manga. Mine does not. For a lack of better words, most manga art styles are kinda generic. And for a while, I was proud of this aspect of my style. I was so proud of standing out from everyone else, proud that my pages had a different vibe. But up until recently, I found myself hating my art style. But I was reluctant to change it because from my analysis, What stood out to me that made me not like my work was the fact that it doesn't look and feel like regular manga. I kept telling myself, the GOATs, Murata, Oda, and Noe Boichi, these people are considered the greatest, art-wise, because they're so different. Their art styles are not generic manga looking at all, they're so unique. I want to become one of these people, one of the best. So I thought I would be doing myself a disservice by making my style more generic looking, right? So instead, I was just grinding out anatomy, I was studying and improving upon the drawing fundamentals, and doing everything except the one thing that I knew deep down would fix my work and make me like it again, which is making it look more like traditional manga, Patching a lot, paying more attention to line weight, using more blacks and not as much tones. I knew that's what would make me like my work again, but my fear of being like everyone else prevented me. Until one day, I was rewatching a video of mine, for reference, because I was planning another video, and then it hit me in the face like a truck. I said in that video, whatever it was, I can't remember the video now, but I said in the video that satisfaction is the enemy of growth, and that stagnation for an artist, especially in this day and age, is the quickest way to get left behind. Then I realized what I'd been doing. I was being resistant to change. I had been stagnating. Long story short, I took my own advice and I faced my fears, and the result is completely different. The fear I had of being like everyone else in this manga space was a waste of time, because although I conformed more to what traditional manga looked like, my art style still stood out the way it used to, only now it looked much better. And unlike last time, it now had the manga vibe that was missing from my work until then. Manga fans could now see my pages on social media and think, oh, that's manga art, and not just black and white or a grayscale comic like before. I hope I'm making sense. So yeah, I'm sorry if this video is kinda dumb or bad or whatever, but why do I tell you guys this story or this experience of mine? Well, it's to relay the lesson I learned from this experience, and it's a very, very important one. Satisfaction for an artist, being complacent, it's your biggest enemy. Because part of the cycle of being an artist and growing as one is having your eyes or your vision for good art improve faster than your hands, you feel me? So that when your eyes see your work and they're not satisfied, then it's now on you to make your hands catch up to your eyes, if that makes sense. And you do that by studying and practicing, and then that process is repeated over and over and over again, if that makes sense. So when you tell yourself your artwork is good enough, you're reinforcing it to your eyes that your flawed work doesn't need fixing. Your eye for good art doesn't get better, and so you stagnate. It doesn't matter how much you practice the fundamentals. If your eyes can't recognize your shortcomings and flaws in your work, you're just redrawing the same thing over and over again, completely blind to the mistakes you make and not making any improvement. I mean, look at it this way. As you are now, how many of you look back on drawings you did in the past that at the time you were in love with and you thought was the best of your ability, but now you can barely even stand the sight of it because of how bad you think it is? If that's you thinking that's yourself right now, that you have those experiences, then that's the way it should be. That's what happens when your eye for good art improves. That's why I've tweeted it multiple times before, but one way to know you're improving is when the artwork of artists you thought were so good suddenly don't look as good as they used to anymore. Not because that artist you love fell off or they got worse, but it's more likely because your eye for art and most likely your skill at art is improving. So yeah, your art is not good enough. That's the video title, but let me add another part to that, okay? Your art's not good enough. Don't be resistant to change. Thank you all for watching this video. I truly appreciate it if you made it all the way to the end. It means a lot to me. But yeah, I want to say a few things before I end the video. First off, I know I made it seem like a bad thing about having air quotes generic manga art. It's not a bad thing. It's really not. It's just my personal preference to stand way the fuck out from everyone else because I feel like it. I only just had the realization that I can do that and still give off that vibe of a manga page, if that makes sense. I mean, Murata does it, Inoue does it, and so does Boichi. They have wildly unique styles, but they still have that manga feel to them, if you know what I'm saying. And yeah, last thing I want to say is this is a sort of different style of video than I've done before on this channel, and I'm hoping you guys like it because doing these videos is a way for me to process experiences I have and talk about it to further remind myself of growth I've made within my art journey and whatnot. So until I have a podcast where I can talk freely about this stuff, I'd like to let it out in videos like these, you know? But yeah, let me not yip yap for too long. Again, thank you all for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to hit the subscribe button, the like button, the notification bell, and all that good stuff. Shout out to the Patrons for supporting the channel and producing this video. If you yourself watching right now want to be a producer on this channel and become a patron, the link is in the description. Lastly, don't forget to leave a comment because I read and respond to most comments. Till next time, art nerds. Peace and love, baby.